The slower guns in Call of Duty are usually a mixed bag in terms of damage, handling, but what are the absolute slowest? Welcome to the Every COD series today. We're going to take a trip from Call of Duty 4 all the way through COD Vanguard and check out some of the absolute slowest firing guns in every single game. Now, these are going to be full auto weapons only. Welcome to the page, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, let me know which of these you actually liked or you thought was viable. And we start off with COD 4. Now, it's the M60 E4 and the MP44. That's right. It's a tie. And it's between two of the worst guns in the original Modern Warfare. Now, the M60 was a beefy LMG that I've called the worst gun of the game due to the horrible recoil, slow movement, and atrocious iron sights. Then, the MP44 was a bonus throwback weapon that could deal some hefty damage, but it had pretty horrible handling itself, and you couldn't put any attachments on it. So, both of these weapons fired at an even 600 rounds per minute, which it's actually pretty fast for this list, but they were easily the slowest guns in this game. Now, going forward, you're going to see way slower weapons than this, but it's pretty interesting that the slowest guns in COD 4 still fired at 600 rounds per minute. Guys, before we move on, if you're in the market for a new gaming PC or a gaming laptop, check out Apex Gaming PCs. Use code CHAOS, save yourself some money, and check out the Team Chaos DEFCON line of PCs. That's right, you can get an actual Team Chaos build for your custom PC. The link is at the top of the description, and remember, code CHAOS if you decide to get anything. World at War, the bar. Easily the slowest full auto in the game. It was a popular pick, though. I mean, it had really good damage, rather low recoil. It was almost always a two-shot kill with stopping power, and the low recoil and that great cover penetration made it a fantastic choice for almost every single map. As long as you weren't trying to play super aggressively, the bar was a fantastic weapon despite that low fire rate, which was only 370 rounds per minute. It's the perfect example of a gun that became a fan favorite despite how slow it fired. Now we arrive at Modern Warfare 2, the AA-12. One of the most iconic shotguns in COD history. Full auto behemoth that only carried 8 rounds, but it fired at a terrifying 400 rounds per minute, and it could kill with a single shot. I mean, from pretty impressive distances, to be honest. The recoil was low, hip fire spread was deceptively tight, and since it was a secondary weapon, a lot of people had it on all their classes. The AA-12 was a monster, but now you know it's actually the slowest gun in Modern Warfare 2. The more you know, right? Not that that stopped it in any single way. Black Ops 1. The M60. Now, if you played the original Black Ops, this isn't a shock. It was by far the slowest gun in the game, and it was a very popular pick because of this. Yes, it hit like a truck, but it also only fired at 535 rounds per minute. And it's also kind of frustrating as a gun because you weren't guaranteed a two-shot kill despite having that slow fire rate and sluggish handling. Now, it was nice to have a 100-round mag by default. It had some of the best cover penetration in the game, but the fire rate and the lack of a reliable two-shot kill made it pretty bad. You hardly ever saw it. Modern Warfare 3. The AA-12. Now, the AA-12 was heavily nerfed from its Modern Warfare 2 appearance. It did fire in full auto at an even 400 rounds per minute, but the damage and range was heavily brought down, and it was turned into a primary weapon. Horrible damage, range values. I mean, after just 11 meters, the pellets would disappear. It's pretty rare for this thing to get a one-shot kill unless you were within knifing range, and there was simply no reason to use it unless you were going for challenges. The Modern Warfare 2 AA-12 was one of the best shotguns in COD history. The Modern Warfare 3 version, straight garbage. Black Ops 2. The M1216. It's a weird weapon. Had a decent fire rate, but it had this weird rotating animation you had to do every few shots. The fire rate dramatically decreased because of that. It was an automatic shotgun with a revolving magazine that had to be rotated every 4 shots. Now, the fire rate was a respectable 468 rounds per minute, but since you had to rotate it, that brought the overall fire rate down to 225. Made it one of the slowest full autos in COD history, not just this game. The damage was decent. You could get a one-shot kill with the range, but it just wasn't anything great. You were going to get in trouble with this fire rate because the enemy could just bob and weave in between your shots and then punish you while you were rotating your magazine. It does have a fan club, but I still think it's one of the worst guns in Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Ghosts. The Remington R5 and the Amelie. We have another tie. Neither of them are shotguns. The Remington was one of the most popular assault rifles in COD Ghost because of its high damage, low recoil, and two-shot kill potential. The Amelie, it was your starting LMG. Nobody used it because the recoil was too high and the handling was slow. I did have good damage, don't get me wrong, but other weapons in Ghost were just way better, way more versatile. But did you know these two weapons fired exactly at the same rate? 631 rounds per minute. Now, there weren't very many super slow weapons in Ghost, and I think 631 is actually the fastest fire rate on this list, which should say something about how fast the time to kill was in this game. Even the slowest guns were still firing at over 600 rounds per minute and could kill with 2 bullets. Advanced Warfare. The Cell 3 cauterizer. Who remembers it? Shoddy added in September of 2015 alongside the AK-47. It had some respectable damage. It was full auto. It was capable of getting a one-shot kill, which you didn't see very often in Call of Duty, but the trade-off was the great damage, or with the great damage, was the inconsistent range and the fire rate. The cell was full auto, yes, but it fired its first 2 rounds at only 60 rounds per minute, then the remaining shots would come out at 120. So even though it had solid damage capabilities, the fire rate was abysmal, and it would often get you in trouble if you missed your first shot. Now, overall, it was a divisive weapon, and you didn't see it online very often. But it was by far the slowest full auto in the game. Black Ops 3. The Haymaker 12. Full auto shoddy, probably one of the worst guns in the game, mainly because it was completely outclassed by the infamous Brecci. It fired at even 300 rounds per minute, could kill in 2 to 4 shots, generally speaking. I don't know about you guys, but it's not really what I want from a Call of Duty weapon. Yes, it came with a 16-round mag by default, and that gave you a decent amount of spraying potential, but that slow fire rate, the poor range, and low damage, it meant you would constantly get outgunned by SMGs and other shotguns. So why would you use it? Infinite Warfare. The DCM-8. Full auto shoddy, widely hated when the game came out due to the abysmal damage and the terrible range, but there are some variants that made it pretty powerful. I'm super glad that's not how COD works anymore. The DCM was an energy shotgun, had a decent fire rate similar to the Modern Warfare 2 AA-12, but extremely low and inconsistent damage, which meant it was a spray and pray weapon. Some people liked that. Most people passed over it. COD World War II. The Bren. One of the most hated guns in the game. Absolute crap. One of the hardest weapons to finish camo challenges on because it was that bad. This LMG... man, it had bad it had bad handling speeds, a bad iron sights, a bad 30-round mag. Fire rate was only 300 rounds per minute. Now, granted, it would almost always kill in 2 shots, but the handling speeds were so bad, and since the fire rate was so low, you would be outgunned by practically every other weapon in the game at close to mid-range. It had some good damage per shot, but the fire rate and the handling speeds made it horrible on the field. Black Ops 4. The Rampage. Full auto shoddy. Added to the game with the Operation Grand Heist update, and it did plague hardcore modes, but it was not very good in core. It fired at 353 rounds per minute. Incredibly inconsistent damage. It could kill in a couple shots at point-blank range, but that damage dropped off extremely quickly, and the pellets completely disappeared after 12 meters, which made it literally useless beyond close range. And if you weren't exactly dealing much damage after about 5 meters, why would you use it? So despite being full auto and a cool name, it was easily outgunned by most of the rifles and SMGs in Black Ops 4. If you weren't playing hardcore, you probably didn't see it. Modern Warfare 2019. The JAK-12. Added to the game in October of 2020, it's the rebooted universe's version of the iconic AA-12. It's pretty similar. Fired full auto at 339 rounds per minute. It was more incapable of one-shot kill, up close at least. It also had some new traits like massive drum mags, range-extending barrels, and even Dragon's Breath. Yep. On smaller maps, the JAK was pretty busted, and since it was the slowest firing full auto in the game, here it is. Black Ops Cold War. The Street Sweeper. Despite being the slowest automatic weapon in the game, the Street Sweeper garnered a horrible reputation in the community for being way too powerful and way too easy. It fired at an even 300 rounds per minute, had a massive ammo capacity, and despite these 2 massive advantages, it could still kill in 1 to 2 shots at close range. Plus, if you equipped the right attachments, it could compete at mid-range as well. The only downside of the Street Sweeper was the slow reload animation, but when you're dealing that much damage, nobody cares. And finally, we've arrived at Call of Duty Vanguard. The bar. Still early in Vanguard's life cycle, and all that data hasn't been tested quite yet, but by my counts, the bar is the slowest full auto in the game. Granted, it's still extremely strong, and a lot of people swear it's the best rifle in the game. Like its World at War appearance, the bar features a very slow fire rate, but pretty low recoil and good damage, so it usually kills in just 2 bullets as long as you aim high. With the right attachments, its handling can be drastically sped up and the range can be extended even more, which makes it even more of a difficult weapon to go up against. Now, I'm sure this entry will change since updates haven't started coming yet for Vanguard, but right now, the bar is the slowest gun in the game. And there you have it. That is technically the slowest firing gun in every single Call of Duty. That doesn't make him the worst gun, just the slowest firing. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.